Hello everyone, today we will look at the world of cosplay in TV shows. Our question is there any correlation between a TV show's popularity and the cosplayability of that show's characters? First of all, what is cosplay? Cosplay is a mixing of costume and play. Some people define cosplay to even include the construction process of these costumes. Much of the cosplay community centers around attending pop culture events. In the past, many of these events were intended for a specific show or type of show, such as an anime or comic books. However, many events, such as one of Europe's largest conventions, the Lucca Comics and Games in Italy, have expanded to include shows from streaming platforms like Netflix. This con can bring in over 250,000 people each year for the event. The world of cosplay is seen as an art form where the artist or cosplayer has the freedom to decide how much detailed and accurate versus blended in creativity they want to do. Cosplay was originally for animation and comics, but has expanded to include just about any fictional characters that exist. Many professional cosplayers started with a simple character, often from an anime. Some of these simpler cosplays could be considered a closet cosplay, where most of the items that are needed to complete it could potentially be found in someone's closet. To cosplay a character, the cosplayer collects signs that will tell other people who they are cosplaying as. These signs include the physical costume pieces, but can also include speech patterns and behaviors. We'll be focusing on the physical costume for the rest of this video. So what determines the cosplayability of a character? Closet cosplays are often the easiest, since you may not even have to buy anything to complete a costume. However, if you compare that with a cosplay involving leather and armor pieces or weapons that need to be handcrafted, the price tags can start to rise quickly. Since not much research has been done on the cosplay community, especially on the subject I'm looking at, I had to find my own method for determining how much people choose to cosplay a particular show. And for that, we turn to the wonderful world of Instagram. There's a large community of cosplayers on Instagram, and using tags we can attempt to get a grasp as to how often different shows are cosplayed. I chose several shows that I know people cosplay from, and here are the results. From these selected shows, I collected what data I could on their popularity using Rotten Tomatoes and the Internet Movie Database. Just with a quick glance, there doesn't appear to be any correlation between the ratings and the Instagram posts. But then what gets some shows more cosplay traffic? To answer that, we're going to look at 3 shows in particular: The 100, Doctor Who, and RWBY. The 100 is a post-apocalyptic show involving character costumes like this. Doctor Who is a sci-fi time-traveling show, so it includes costumes from many different eras. Finally, RWBY, which appears to be so popular for the cosplay community, is an American-made anime involving these sorts of costumes. What about these shows make them more or less cosplayable? Simply put, a cosplayable character is one that has solid colors, therefore no prints to match or create, can be made from cheaper materials, requires a lower skill in craftsmanship, has distinguishable features for the character, and has an outfit with few changes during the show. In Doctor Who, the outfits can be super simple closet cosplays or quite elaborate and require a lot of craftsman skill and money. In this sense, it doesn't fit perfectly as being cosplayable, but you could think of it as having something for everyone. For distinguishable features, it half passes. There are some things such as Matt Smith's bow ties, David Tennant's trench coats, and Peter Capaldi's sonic sunglasses. But if you look at the show as a whole, it isn't often that characters dress the same from episode to episode. They will have a basic style like normal people, but no specific outfit. The 100 is even worse about this. You could say they do a good job with solid colors, since basically the entire color palette is blacks and grays, but that's where the cosplayability ends. A lot of the distinguishable costumes are made with various pieces of leather and armor that would have had to be custom made to be accurate, which is time consuming and expensive. And if you watch the show, most characters don't have a specific outfit they keep for long. There are a few distinguishable looks like Octavia here, or the Commander Lexa, but otherwise characters are difficult to distinguish between each other. Now for RWBY. Here is what the main characters look like. This show was created by animator Monty by the small company Rooster Teeth. RWBY is now their biggest hit and has provided them the funds to create higher budget projects. They give Monty complete freedom in designing the show RWBY, and it was a huge success. RWBY became the very first American anime series to be translated for Japanese audiences. Monty's goal was to have 4 female warriors in a show that blended Eastern with Western ideas together. Monty designed his characters to be very accessible to cosplayers. He even once said, "I tried to make sure all my characters are designed with pockets and pouches, so cosplayers will have places to put their phones and wallets." Each of the 4 main characters have a color assigned to them: red for Ruby, white for Weiss, black for Blake, and yellow for Yang. This has allowed cosplayers to make casual cosplays for them that are simple, based on their styles rather than replicas of the show's costumes. Since this is an anime, there's no determined fabric or material. Most cosplays I've seen for these can be made from just cheap cotton and look completely fine. The craftsman's skill varies for different costumes, but for the inexperienced, there are many places selling replicas of the costumes if you aren't into the creation part of cosplay. In this show, costume changes are rare, only occurring every few seasons, which then by default allows for their character to have some very distinguishable costumes, since they can stay exactly the same through many seasons, and their outfits are still based on the styles of their previous one. So in summary, at this point with the research out there, I can't definitively determine whether the amount of people cosplaying a show actually correlates with the popularity of that show, but we can see a little bit of why some shows get more cosplayers than others. The world of cosplay is constantly changing. Fandoms are not quiet, disconnected places, but are fluid and dynamic spaces filled with interchange where borders and outlines dissolve and reappear through the passing and the telling. Hopefully now you know a little more about the cosplayer community. Here are the sources that I used for this presentation. Thank you for watching.